Hello patient people, watching me play a turn-based game in which I don't yet have an official enemy, but I do have a laser. It's not mounted on a moon base, but I do have a laser. I also have a rudimentary road structure. Look at that lovely road grid in my equally lovely city grid. Hopefully you understand the glory of the city grid. It'll keep growing. Soon everyone will understand the power of the grid. The red fungus is shrinking, the green forest is growing, all is progressing correctly at turn 75. So turn 75 I have, I think, 13 cities, bases, a solid swarm of formers, and a few scouts getting into scraps with worms, as I might expect them to. So I've got my psychor being manufactured everywhere, and they are for worm suppression, among other things, but mostly worm suppression. You just cover your landmass in them. I'll stick them all along the coast and they'll be a primitive sort of lookout radar. They're there if a Isle of the Deep disgorges a bunch of worms on my shore. I've got a bunch of guys right there on the case. If an enemy spits out a troop to come and say hello, I've got guys there as witness and guys there who can deal with it. With a little bit of cash in my pocket, a probe team can take care of intruders, non-worm intruders, and a hypnotic trance probe team can take care of worm intruders and natural worms to some degree, some weak degree. It's not that they're great against worms. I mean, they're always on the defense, they're always getting smashed, but they weaken the worms take damage while killing them, and yeah, they're just extra worm suppression, extra worm targets. Instead of your formers and your troops getting owned by the worm attack, one of these guys with his red shirt on takes one for the team, and then my troop counter-attacks the worms, and my troop gets the attacker's advantage in psi combat. That's hopefully how it pans out. So the Psychor guys are multi-purpose. Obviously the name Psychor is completely my own invention because it's a newfangled unit I made. It's not a default unit that the game will make for you, like certain other things. That's a list of all the projects. F5. Centauri scored 32. So you can get a list of all the projects, who's made them, and what city they're in. I'm no longer second last, I believe. I'm going up in the world. And I believe that there's probably some conflict in faraway places driving down the greatness of some of my opponents. Staples, 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 staples. Look at all those sanctions. That's okay. We're a very self-sufficient country. We don't mind the hate. We know that haters are gonna hate Miriam. It's just common sense to hate Miriam. There aren't any successful Miriam tactics I'm aware of that really promote peace and harmony and getting along with everyone else. Being great at probe teams and great at attacking people, the script writes itself. There's going to be a war. Sticking to scout defense, it's extremely unlikely that I'm going to be invaded in any kind of force. AIs and Normandy-style amphibious landings are just not a combination that goes together. They tend to be more of a challenge when you've got bigger land masses, I think. But I think Miriam crushes it on bigger land masses. So it could be easily considered a way for me to make it easier for myself. So it's a tricky one. But in general, the AI isn't great with naval invasion types of things. But we'll see. It's on maximum difficulty. They're not complete idiots on this sort of difficulty. They seem to be able to assess your strength to some degree. They definitely have an eye for spotting which of your bases is an air base full of valuable air assets and nuking them all dead at once. I know they do that. Let me see. Energy bank and optical computers lead to the kinds of things I want. It's nice to have a gun, but I've got nothing to shoot at. It's nice to have a speeder, but I've got nothing to tank. Democratic and crash, please. It's not how I roll. I'm a Miriam. This isn't about democracy. This isn't about the kids having a safe space. Okay, blast that worm. It's all about being on the attack. But it doesn't hurt to completely clog the area with worm defense units. There's also a stage, productivity-wise.
Production complete.
At this level of development, I've got a lot of cities and I'm spamming out lots of cities. I want to have a lot of cities in the future. At the moment, all they can do is make more cities, make more scouts, make more formers, and do their recycling tank. The Psychor is something they can build at this stage instead of stockpiling energy a lot, or just sort of maxing themselves out with scouts and formers. So by pumping these guys out, I'm doing something useful with all this extra city productivity. And it is something very useful. They're lookouts. They're useful against conventional troops on the attack. They're useful against worms on the defense. They're a lookout, and if you completely align your coast with them, then the enemy can't unload his troops. He needs amphibious attack troops to even do a Normandy landing on your Atlantic wall.
Improvement already exists.
Patiently producing the same 5 things. And that's how it's going to be for a while. They've gifted me with this, what seems like an isolated location. No one's turned up to my coastal cities to say hello. I've got this landmass, there's no one else on it, and I'm going to fill it with cities. Fill it
complete.
right on up. And that may seem mad to you, but
Complete.
I can assure you I've gone from last place and I've bootstrapped my way upwards, and that's going to continue. I expect a bit of a comparatively slow start for Miriam. You don't get any tech for the first 10 turns. So, you gotta give the girl a break.
Action eradicated.
Well, there you go. Hive is going off.
Production
Got
complete.
rid of the Morganites.
Production complete.
Morganites are all too peaceful. I'd rather have Yang for an opponent. At least he can throw a punch. So that's pretty good. We've got a powered up Yang who's annexed Morganite territory. That should make him feisty. I like it. University's got the tech, shock surprise. Yang is doing the rest. I'm assuming he's on the large land mass on the right hand side of my map that sort of wraps around the edge of the screen a bit. That would be the perfect land mass for getting big and swole. Goodness knows where the rest are. That's my pick for Yang. Hopefully I can get powered up, and maybe some boat tech will be in my near future. I can go on a bit of a sail, get some comm frequencies, talk to some people, get their tech, and of course send in the probe teams and steal their tech, because obviously my weakness at the moment is a lack of tech. But I feel like I've got reasonable productivity, parallel production from this vast array of cities, many of which have recycling tanks. So I've already got a little posse of my Psychor headed south, where worms are a strong possibility. I'm popping a few out on the peninsulas as lookouts. I can't really afford the former turns to build radars on my coast at the moment. I'll do it later. In the meantime, these Psychor guys can stand on the coastline with their binoculars. Keep an eye out for enemy ships. So as anti-worm units, these guys are going to be pretty average at this stage. Once I become a fundamentalist, that'll be a different kettle of fish. That'll take my probe team morale to +3 levels. So that'll make them sort of average at fighting worms. and their key strength is their lack of upkeep. They're designed to be a non-combat unit that runs away, and they don't have any upkeep, but with hypnotic trance, they're just good enough at fighting worms to be worth fielding because of their other uses as well. You've got to manufacture them, but you don't have to upkeep them, and that's just a huge early game thing. Huge. Starting to take shape. Seeing some serious greenery. The red is disappearing. I've got an army of formers. I've got pretty good visual coverage and reporting on my whole continent, thanks to my scouts, my psychor. I'm conquering my little island paradise here.
Production complete.
Making good progress. I just need a war. Just need somebody to fight. And somebody to spy on. I'm a sticky beak. I'm feeling extremely nosy. I just desperately want to spy on someone. What are they all up to? I want to gossip about them, damn it. Okay. I'll switch you over to another video. Wrap this one up. Hopefully we'll have some action of some major kind fairly soon. We're at turn 90, putting down the 18th city. Predictable list of scout tanks cycle.
Production complete.
Alright, I'm going to wrap this up there.